Hello there, Badgers. One Angry Pagan here. So, been a little bit since I did the video. I'm sorry about that. It's been busy. Right. I've been wanting to have a closer look at this for a while. As you know, on this channel, I I talk about lots of different things, but my big love is science. And what's going on in America is scary as all fuck when it comes to science. Trump is Trump and his administration are anti-science. And the article I'm about to go over explains why. I am horrified by the Trump administration's attitude towards science. And then they will come out and say, no, we're the ones who believe in real science. No, you fucking don't, you utter retards. And no, you know what? I won't take people going, oh, you can't use that word. No, Trump and his administration are fucking retards. I ain't taking that back. Anyway, so back to the article. This is on BBC Earth, bbc.co.uk, and it's by one Chris Baranwyk from the 23rd of April 2025. Right, so let's get into this. Swathes of scientific data deletions are sweeping across US government websites with decades of health, climate change, and extreme weather research at risk. Now scientists are racing to save their work before it's lost. That one paragraph should have you going, oh shit. If it doesn't, then the rest should. Some of them in the US, others scattered around the world. There are hundreds, maybe even thousands of people involved across multiple networks, and they keep a damn close eye on their phones. No one knows when the next alert or request to save a chunk of US government-held climate data will come in. Such data, long available online, keeps getting taken down by US President Donald Trump's administration. For the last 6 months or so, Kathy Richards has been entrenched in the response. She works for one of several organizations bent on downloading and archiving public data before it disappears. The Trump administration is treating scientific research as fantasy and is deleting it because it doesn't like it. This is fucking fascism. You get a message at 11 o'clock at night saying this is going down tomorrow. She says you try to enjoy your day and then everything goes wrong. You just spend the night downloading data. Richards is a data and inclusion specialist and a civic science fellow at Open Environmental Data Project, the OEDP, a non-profit organization based in Hudson in New York. Her organization is a founding member of the Public Environmental Data Project, PEDP, which emerged in 2024 to safeguard data under the Trump administration. Some of the messages are heartbreaking, says Richard. Scientists sometimes get in touch, desperate to know that data they have spent their professional lives collecting will be rescued. You hear the urgency, she says. You understand that this is someone's X amount of years of research and it's their baby. And that's why we snap into action. In recent weeks, Richards and her colleagues have archived datasets packed with information on US flood hazards, greenhouse gas emissions, energy production, and environmental justice, among many other subjects. Other researchers have recreated a tool that forecasts the risk of future climate hazards around the US. And in January this year, climate-fueled wildfires scorched thousands of acres and killed at least 30 people in California. This rush to save vital environmental data is part of the broader movement to rescue all kinds of scientific data published online by the US government. Biomedical and health researchers working with the US Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, CDC, for example, have been frantically searching for ways to back up important data following executive orders issued by Trump about what information on gender and diversity may be published by federal bodies. Scientists have expressed fears about a wide range of resources that might go next, from historical weather records to data gathered by NASA satellites. On the 16th of April, the US National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, NOAA, announced that a list of data sets regarding ocean monitoring were now scheduled to be removed in early May. Fuck you, you fucking orange prick! This is fucking disgusting. And the fact that people are going along with this is even fucking worse. Multiple organisations, including the Internet Archive, a non-profit safeguarding research and a non-profit organisation safeguarding research and culture, and the Data Rescue Project, are now engaged in activities alongside the OEDP to rescue this data from oblivion. Many of the individuals involved in these efforts have pitched in voluntarily. It's our library, says Richards. You've got to save books. You have to keep it for the future. Exactly. What Trump is doing right here is the same as, authoritarian regimes in history burning books because they didn't fucking like what was being said in them. Shortly after President Trump's inauguration on the 25th of January 25, his administration announced sweeping changes to federal departments and agencies in a bid to reduce what it called waste and inefficiencies. But many of the programs and resources currently disappearing are critically important, scientists say. Climate researchers who spoke to the BBC pointed out that some deleted data sets have supported important research on climate change and life-threatening weather extremes, for example. So some of it is already being deleted. When I say that this is the first time in human history that we, the lesser people, have actually got access to knowledge, this is the wealthy trying to take that purview back. We cannot fucking let it happen. Whilst government officials also removed information during Trump's first term, meaning scientists expected similar deletions during his second term, the scale and scope of recent deletions has taken researchers by surprise. One scientist rushed to the university with a plea. I said, I need disk space. I need it fast. I can't really go through the normal processes of getting a grant. They recall their university quietly made 20 terabytes of storage available, the researcher told the BBC. Yeah. This is taxpayer-funded research that was already paid for. Yeah. Trump is nothing but damaging to everything. And idiots and malicious cunts will still support this orange fuck. The scramble to rescue at-risk data before it's too late continues to apace. Richards says her organisation has received messages from around 400 would-be volunteers, and they are currently onboarding around 100 of them. Their work could help preserve data on everything from air quality to coral reefs, which I talked about with Reagan Elite on his channel last night on the EcoFlix show. Please go and check Reagan Elite out, and please subscribe. It's a really good channel. Among the tools that the PEDP has replicated on its website is EJ Screen, an environmental justice mapping service that reveals communities in the US that may be at heightened risk from environmental hazards such as air pollution. it was removed from the US Environmental Protection Agency, the EPA's website, in early February. The EPA are traitorous little fucking cunts. Or maybe not. They have been infiltrated by fascist little cunts. It's probably more correct. But either way, the EPA is no longer protecting the environment as its purview. The whole reason for the EPA to be around is to protect the environment. And what Trump is doing is reversing that purview. Fucking cunt! Climate data is often particularly challenging to work with given the huge size of certain data sets. Vast stores of information about our planet that underpin climate models or weather forecasting systems, for example. But this doesn't deter Richards. This taxpayer-funded research that was already paid for, she says. The BBC contacted the White House for a comment, but did not receive a response by the time of publication. What a fucking surprise! Watching all of this unfold, in many cases in disbelief, are the scientists who work to collect this data in the first place. I've never seen anything like this in 40 years of doing science, says Paul Bierman, a geomorphologist at the University of Vermont. I think it's an unmitigated disaster. Perfect words there used by Paul Bierman. Bierman studies landscape change and human interaction with landscapes. He has researched the history of the Greenland ice sheet, showing, for example, that the Pleistocene epoch, 2.6 million to 11,700 years ago, that during the Pleistocene epoch, from 2.6 million to 11,700 years ago, Greenland was covered in tundra and vegetation, rather than a thick ice sheet. It suggests that the ice in Greenland was more vulnerable to a changing climate than we previously understood. Bierman explains that all of the data that he and his colleagues have collected on National Science Foundation funded studies get submitted to data repositories supported by that same US government agency. Now I'm wondering, is that the safest place for my data, he says. Well, probably fucking not, unfortunately. It's ridiculous. Mentions of climate change have been removed from research and web pages on US government websites. I know that people have been hearing about this kind of thing, but it's important to actually look into the details of this stuff. This is so fucking disturbing and scary, it's unreal. Scientists are also worried that efforts to gather new climate data will fall by the wayside. A government report in March suggested that the Trump administration was considering cancelling the lease of the support office for a major carbon dioxide CO2 monitoring station in Hawaii. The Mauna Loa Observatory has been tracking atmospheric CO2 concentrations since 1958, and just last year recorded the largest jump in such levels since records began. The climate science is only possible because of long-term data sets, says Lillian Dove, a US NOAA climate and global climate change research fellow at Brown University. Without continuing to collect that data, preserve that data, our field is in really big trouble. It fucking is. This is why I hate Trump and his administration. I hate people like them. Because the facts don't marry with their opinions, they want to delete the facts from people's access. This is Putin behaviour. This is Hitler behaviour. This is Pol Pot's behaviour. Both Bierman and Dove say they have made multiple copies of their scientific data, including in offline stores, as a precaution to ensure its survival. Fucking right. Eric Nost, a geographer at the University of Guelph in Canada, says that the data deletions have far exceeded the many revisions of US government published information that occurred during Trump's first term from early 2017 to early 2021. We saw the removal of many web pages, and we really didn't see, but we didn't really see data sets removed. Rachel Santasiero, director of the Climate Change Transparency Project at the National Security Archive, a non-governmental and non-profit organisation, agrees. She adds that during the first term, mentions of climate change were often deleted from government websites, but scientific data generally remained intact and accessible. This is what I mean. They are trying to remove access to factual knowledge to us. Like they're trying to remove it from us. Because the rich, the wealthy, who for most of human history have had the purview of owning access to knowledge, I've been losing that over the last 50 years. They don't fucking like it. Now, they are making active efforts to take that control back. We cannot let it happen. Santasiero also notes, however, that in principle, the removal of environmental data resources from public-facing government websites is neither new or exclusive to the Trump administration. EPA announced plans to remove its online archive in 2022, while Biden was still in power, for instance. The rationale was it was too costly to keep the archive. This is where I say to Biden, fuck you. Another organisation that is currently working to gather and archive US government data, including climate data, is safegaur.de. safegaur.de. It is run largely by researchers outside the US. William Waits, a computer scientist at the University of Southampton in the UK, is among them. The pace of data deletions in recent months and weeks has been frantic, he says, with some scares over data sets that were rumoured to be earmarked for removal. In March, word went round that information published by NOAA would disappear within days. Waits and his colleagues swung into action and started downloading multiple terabytes of data, but the rumoured deadline for deletion came and went. Waits describes the episode as a good exercise for getting used to doing this, and adds it's getting a little bit easier though as we become more established and known for doing this and have contacts in various organisations. So fucking good that people like this are around to save the data, save this research. A raft of NOAA programs are currently at risk as the Trump administration is reportedly considering cutting the agency's funding by 25%. And where does he want that money to go? Well, that's right, to more rich people. Rich people do not need more fucking money. They're already rich, for fuck's sake. This would remove all funding for research on the impact of climate change on weather, for example. Which is why I keep losing my shit periodically throughout this video. The Internet Archive's Wayback Machine, which captures screenshots of web pages to record what they looked like in the past, is also working to cache government data. This is part of the End of Term Archive project, which records the state of US government websites at the end of presidential administrations. Mark Graham, director of the Wayback Machine, highlights a live public spreadsheet that his colleagues are using to log such captures. The content ranges from information about LGBTQ plus equality matters to geopolitics, plus references to vaccines and sexually transmitted diseases were also removed from federal websites shortly after Trump's inauguration. anyone who tries to tell me that Trump's administration is not anti-science will get their I will fucking rip into you with zero mercy. Anyone who says that is a fucking stupid retard. And again, no, I will not take back using that word in this context. It's fucking disgusting. It really makes my blood boil. Many of the preserved web pages feature climate or environmental information. We've seen by scope and scale an increase in the material removed from US government websites that is without precedent, says Graham. Downloading and archived data in private or non-governmental repositories is something of a double-edged sword, however. On the one hand, it allows archivists to make multiple copies of that data. That limits its potential for being destroyed, says Lourdes Vera, a sociologist at the University of Buffalo. But Vera, who was arrested in 2020 for stealing and vandalizing Trump campaign signs, points out that saving such data on platforms owned by US-based tech companies could be risky if those companies are later compelled by the government to delete that data, which is why it's also good that they are making hard copies of this stuff. Multiple people involved in archiving initiatives expressed the motivation to store the most important information outside of the US, though many were hesitant to discuss details. When asked whether this was something the Internet Archive is doing, for example, Graham only says the Internet Archive is always looking for responsible ways to help ensure the integrity of data. There's another problem though. When data goes missing from centralized and well-known government web pages, it's not obvious to casual internet users that there are organizations out there working to republish it. Which is why I hope people watch this video and hear about. I will be putting the link to this to this story in the description for this video. Please check this out. This is important. I get that people are like, oh, but there's loads of other stuff going on. This affects all of us. We all live on this planet. You have to know what you kind of have to know what you're looking for now, whereas in the past you would have been able to more easily come by that data by navigating centralized data systems, says Nost. It means increasing burden, not just in terms of safeguarding climate data, but also ensuring that the public knows it's still there and that it matters. Exactly. Given the relatively small window that humans have to act on climate change in order to prevent its worst effects, Bierman finds the present situation incomprehensible. Fucking right, Bierman. Fucking right. It's stunning to me that at a time when we're seeing more intense hurricanes, greater rainfall extremities, more drought and more wildfires, why at that point would we ever imagine cutting the science that's key to addressing those issues and keeping people safe? I know why. It's because the wealthy don't want us having access to that knowledge. Why? Because it takes away more of their power. You know that saying that knowledge is power? This is a fucking good example of it. Its strength is its simplicity. Okay, whatever. Anyway, I am disgusted with America. At the same time, the American administrations. Again, it's not like Biden did any better on this front. What the fuck, America? What the actual fuck? This anti-science agenda really is as bad as Hitler and Pol Pot. I'm not shitting you. They want to take back power by removing access to factual knowledge. Easy access. The wealthy have been seeing the removal of this kind of power from them for the last few decades. And now they are really starting to take action. We cannot let them succeed. Whatever way you can, you fight this. If you're in America, fight this. We around the world will try to help you. But you in America have to fight this fascism. So, yeah. Again, I will leave this article. I will link this article in the description for this video. Let me know what you think about all of this. Whether you think it doesn't mean much, or whether you think, like me, this is one of the biggest problems that Trump has brought about. Let alone the fucking tariffs and the stuff to do with Ukraine. I actually think this is worse. And that's saying something considering how bad the tariff situation and the Ukraine situation really is. Because they are like Trump is making those situations, fuck knows how much, like the economic and Ukraine situations, he's making so much worse. And the Gaza situation, the Israel-Gaza situation, he's making that worse. But this tops it. I'm sorry, it just does, because this affects all of us. This really has got my blood boiling, Badgers. I am fucking pissed. That orange cunt can fucking do one. I wish he had been fucking shot. I wouldn't do it myself. I don't advocate for doing it. But you know what? I wish he had been shot. I wish the cunt hadn't missed and grazed his fucking ear. I know I'm not afraid to say that on my channel. I'm not getting monetized. We would be better off if Trump had been shot. Just laying it out there. What, do you think I should be more moderated on my channel? Fuck off! I call myself One Angry Pagan for a reason. So yeah, to all those badgers out there that are just as freaked out as me by this, stay strong. And to all you cunts that support Trump, fuck you! My shield at your backs, badgers, and my sword at your service. Freaks blessings.